not an African American, I'm an American. I am a Black American. I am definitely Black. And yes, my ancestors come from Africa. How long does a bloodline have to live in one land before they are considered a pure species of that land? Meaning, how long did my people have to be in America to say, hey, no, we're American, compared to some people who are English American, who are Irish American, who are German American from their ancestors, but they get to call themselves American. There's nothing wrong with being African American, but a true African American is someone that is from Africa and moved here, either first generation or second generation, and has a tie to that country that I do not have.
And has a tie to that country that I do not have.
Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't. We're not from the motherland. We're from We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a Black American. So I consider myself a Black American. I don't consider myself African American. And shout out that because Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
Grand Rising to the fam, Grand Rising. So this is interesting. Braxton, the snake fiend in the house, Lord Maul, Israelite 1865, Claus and Dan. Interesting conversation I had. I was watching this show, a couple shows yesterday. Obviously, I didn't go live. Been a little busy, but I've been watching some YouTube shows, and folks been talking about Pan-Africanism, has been talking about FBAs and our talking points misrepresenting us, talking to clowns on the internet who are not FBA, just trolls, misrepresent our arguments like revenue and African tether. So anyway, I was in one chat and the moderator, I was like, hey man, some of your views you got on this is totally twisted. I'm like, yeah, man, you need to talk to people who really acknowledge themselves as FBA, come through my channel and blah, blah, blah. So he heard me say, he heard me use FBA. He automatically, oh, you guys are dumb, whatever. So I'm like, hey man, no need to call names. Just tap in and we could have a mature, no non-name calling conversation. So I said, matter of fact, leave your email in the chat. You know what I mean? And I'll email you and blah, blah, blah. Emailed them. So yesterday I was gonna go live and bring him on, but he wanted like a conversation first to fill out, and a little older than me. We had like a good conversation, but he was upset with the term foundational, and I was explaining why. No, that's not going anywhere. And he tried to get like a little argument against that. It really ain't going anywhere. Just his personal beliefs. But some things he said led to this live. So he was like, well, what about pseudo brother Reggie's Black City plan? I'm like, you talking about the Pan-African Black City plan, sham, scam, thank you, man, wham bam. I said, nah, man, that's a nothing burger. I said, here's the thing. People are mad at Tariq Nasheed and mad at Yvette Carnell because they themselves, I'm talking about the brother Reggie's of his kind, they want to be the leader of Black Americans so badly. And even like the Pan-Africanist thought, like they want to be the leader of things so bad, and they flopped. They had 20, 30, 40 years trying to show how they're the leader, or they could be the leader, qualify for leader, eligible for the leadership. And our lineage responded like, yo, we don't want a leader. Like, they don't need one. We don't need one. We don't. It just is not what it is, man. It's the code is the leadership. And like we were saying that before we even said that, just our body language, the way we respond to spokesmen, people of the lineage. You feel me? We don't want a leader. We are leaders. All of our voices matter. You dig? And so it dawned on me. I said, oh, that's why they mad at Tariq and Yvette. Like they shattered other people's dreams of ever being a leader of the lineage by talking about the code, talking about ADOS or FBA, the lineage. Like, ain't no leader. That you either represent our talking points correctly or you're not, coon or tether. white supremacists. So I said, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna revisit this damn Black City plan. And we just spoke yesterday. And we talked about Garvey. We talked about a whole bunch of things, and he was unaware of the Black American Heritage flag. He said he'd seen it before, but he wasn't really. But it turned out like he really doesn't know Pan-Africanism the way he should. And he was asking me questions, and I was like half answering. I'm like, bruh, I'm leaving out information on purpose because at the end of the day, I am a content creator, and I want to add content to my creation when I go live. Oh man, that's the problem. Content creators. I said, oh, stop. Dr. Khaled Muhammad already explained. Now, they will call him a revolutionary, and he already explained when it comes to black people, we like education and entertainment. So he said that's why he does both. We're not a people to sit down and be entertained by a boring ass college lecture. You dig? We want some more uh shazazz going on. You feel me? And that's why we do that. Look at our marching bands. We ain't just sitting there boring and no, we going in. That's where the drill rap came from. The drill beats came from. Yeah, so that's who we are, man. Look at our when we get involved in sports. We're gonna do a little dance. You feel me? We're not gonna do the boring white Americans tactics. Like we're gonna add our majority spitter on top of it. I think that's what you guys call it. We're gonna add that culture to whatever we do, and it's gonna stand out. So same thing with information. When we exchange information, debate information, we're gonna add that touch to it where it's gonna be attractive. Many people want to come by and listen to. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna purposely hold out some information on you because he thinks Garvey was a great guy. And I flat out told him, I said, yo, Garvey is just the first Umar. Umar is the second Garvey. So I said, if you want to stand on Garvey, then you're gonna be in trouble. I explained to him because he mentioned Dr. John Henry Clark. I said, hey man, don't do him either. The dude has admitted that he likes to omit information to make Pan-Africanists look better than what history makes them look. You feel me? So he was trying to work on a time and day, maybe tonight, but I'm still working on getting this black conservative back on. I wanna cook him. Anyway, without further ado, let's listen to Brother Reggie's Black City plan. Again, like this is a guy who's been trying to be a leader of the lineage for a while, and he came up with this Black City plan. He felt like this was his baby. And we're gonna examine it. We're gonna examine it, we're gonna critique it, and we're gonna RIP it once and for all.
For me. So while I'm talking, so what should go into that soil?
Yeah.
What should go into that soil is black businesses, and you'll say, well, you know, Brother Reggie, we have black businesses, right? And that should be enough. But those black businesses are taxed, right? So yeah. What we want to do is we want to see what we want to see is what do cities do and what do white communities do? Okay, is that fair?
Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna, I'm actually gonna come back to that because I want you to just kind of just dive in there in terms of explaining to us what exactly the Black City Plan is.
Okay, so why don't I do that? Okay, why don't I do that? Okay, you and Elena and Brother Taki and others have embarked on this great project called Happy, right? What you're happy about.
Yeah.
Happy is what Infadishi and Dr. Richetti, who have been on your show, and other great scholars know as the Nile River. It is actually a principle, a nature that's kind of like male and female, and represents maybe the north and the south of ancient Egypt. And this river fed this civilization. and it became the heart of economics and the development of that civilization. And so the question is, what is our happy, right? What is our happy? So this particular picture is a Nubian tribute in the tomb of Hui. And because, you know, one of the things that we do as scholars is we study ancient history to kind of use those principles to help us understand the whole past and what we may do in the future. So this picture pretty much shows African economics in ancient Egypt. And if you look closely, you see different types of Africans, dark, light, right, of different complexions, and they are part of a civilization. And so this is classical African civilization, and ancient African civilization, other civilizations followed this kind of, how can I say, this kind of same theme, right?
Like model?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
They followed the same model. Okay, but what we have lost is understanding what goes into empires, goes into civilizations, goes into states, nations, and states and cities. The city is what people don't understand, Felicia. People don't understand that the city is where we live, die, pay taxes, give birth, educate our children, where we go to work. The city is where a majority of Black population, about Black people migrated to. Okay? And so the city, not the state, not the federal government, is where our power would be, if any place. So Black scholars read lots of scholars. We don't only read Black scholarship, we read white scholarship. And so Jane Jacobs has this incredible book called Cities and the Wealth of Nations. And she says, the basal unit of economic geography, as she observed, nations are political and military entities, and so blocks of nations. But it doesn't necessarily follow from this that they are also the basic salient entities of economic life, or they are particularly useful for probing the mysteries of economic structure. So lots of people talk about the nation and the federal government and all that type of stuff, but they miss the fact that it is actually cities that we should probe. So the reasons for rise and decline of wealth are the cities. Once we try looking at the real economic world in its own right, rather than a dependent artifact of politics, we can't avoid seeing that most nations are composed of collections or grab bags of very different economies, rich regions and poor regions with the same nation. We can't avoid seeing too that among the nation various types of economics, cities are unique in their abilities to shape and reshape the economics of other settlements, including those far removed from them geography. So she argues that the wealth of nations is actually generated by particular places inside nations, namely cities. So,
yes. Okay, so the Black City Plan. You looked at the Hapi, which is ancient Egyptian name for the Nile River, and you looked at how civilization was able to begin there and to thrive and flourish. So in terms of the Black City Plan, how did you then take what you learned there to create the Black City Plan? In terms of your city plan, what does it look like? Can you kind of walk us through like what exactly the Black City Plan is?
Sure. Okay. So, so I have to share the screen again. Sorry. Because, I can talk, but the problem is that, just talking, people don't understand the concepts, and I want people to see the concept. So let's just try to see if I can share this again. I'll get I use different platforms, so I'll get better as we progress as far as sharing. Okay, so let's go into the Black City Plan.
The Black City Plan, yes.
The Black City Plan. Okay, what does it look like? Okay, so we already talked about city as an economic concept, right?
Okay.
So white people, they have incorporated in their cities something called municipal enterprises. Municipal enterprises is when the city now becomes the business manager and the business group. And what they do is that they create these businesses, and on the right side of it, these municipal enterprises play a critical role in building community wealth for several key reasons. They create stable quality of jobs for community members. They increase local economic status by reducing a community's reliance on the whims of private businesses. They often provide goods and services to underserved areas overlooked by for-profit and non-profit providers. They often provide goods and services to local residents for lower cost than their profit providers. They generate new local revenues that can be used for countless community benefit purposes. So what white folks, who are also subject to their own predatory corporations, what they have is their cities go into business, okay? And our cities don't go into business. Our cities make way for those industrial predatory companies. And so we are subject, like I said before, my sister went to Howard, Antoinette, so she gave me this book by Sean D. Rochester, who I think also went to Howard University. And he came up with this book called The Black Tax. And he talks about all the things I said in that soil: the black tax in real estate market, the black tax in automotive market, the black tax in auto insurance, the black tax in online commerce, the black tax in job search, the black tax in legal professions, business financing. Black tax is pervasive. Then it goes on to how we actually got to that particular point. And then he also has this incredible chart on slavery. If you look at it, it was $50 trillion of black tax. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to stop you so I can make sure that I'm understanding this. So part of the Black City Plan is using these municipal enterprises in a better way.
Absolutely. It is Black people taking control of their cities and now understanding that they can use their cities as business partners to generate that fertile ground.
Okay. So I'm just imagining, let's say we can Detroit, and we start, taking over the municipal enterprises. Is there anything in your plan that is going to, because I assume there's going to be resistance to this. Okay, so is there anything in your plan that accounts for that resistance, like from corporations? Because at the end of the day, they're going to stand to lose a lot of money.
Well, the nature of a city is that the city itself is the lawmaker. Mm-hmm. We don't know that. Cities make human rights laws, they make commerce laws. So they may be unhappy, but you got to also remember, this did not start in Black cities. It started in white cities, municipal enterprises, right? So they can't be unhappy with white folks, and yes, they can be unhappy with Black folks. But when Black people know their power, and yes, we already have Black cities, they just don't know their power. So here's my screen again. Black enterprises, which are municipal enterprises, Black city enterprises. And like I said, I look at history. So that's Red Meyer, and that's Mansa Musa. This is Mansa Musa's pilgrimage, this movement of all these goods and services to Mecca. And then there is Booker T. Washington's.
All right. So before he go into this second presentation, Can we examine the first presentation, please? Is that possible? 1 second. 1 second. We just want to address the first one. Give me a second. I just need to oh shit. There we go. Yeah, so these guys like him, they want to be the leader or something. So they try to come up with something innovative, challenging, something like this that's unvetted. I heard he tried to give it to a politician at a bonfire, right? And it went straight into the bonfire. Like the politician didn't understand that he was presenting something, like to look at a black city plan, and the politician thought he was giving them more stuff to throw on the bonfire, so it went straight in the bonfire. Now, if that ain't a clear sign to you to relax and do something else, like nothing is. Like you give a politician a black city plan, something to examine, and he mistakes it as uh more debris for the bonfire. Yeah, it's a wrap for you. Like you should just give it up. Okay. Yeah, but this thing where you're the leader and anybody that comes with something more tangible, more realistic, they're automatically your op is ridiculous. But this is what most people like him uses for fuel to go against FBA delineation, so self-identification, things like that. And you'll see like different like Africans who come over here with a thought, like Marcus Garvey. They come over with a thought. Nobody else thought matters. This is the way. And they're going to view black people, black Americans, black civil rights activists at that time as ops in the way of this repatriation idea, because they always want to be the leader of the lineage. And it's interesting because Booker T. Washington didn't try to be the leader of a lineage. Neither did W. Du Bois or anybody at that time. Everybody was just contributing to the civil rights movement. So anyway, so from the first presentation, Brother Reggie's Black City Plan Sham, it drew deeply from African antiquity, right? So they're trying to connect us back to Africa so much that they want to pattern a Black City Plan after like some Nile Valley civilization in Egypt. Like these Hotepers are so in love with Egypt that they want us to like create a system similar to Egypt. Weird people. More like as a metaphorical and philosophical foundation for modern Black economic and political self-determination in our urban spaces. Okay. So his vision is deeply rooted in cultural pride and Pan-African analysis. That's the problem. Everything is from a Pan-Africanist lens. He tried to contain key strategic strengths, but as you know, this is a Pan-Africanist analysis, so it inevitably has key strategic weaknesses and implementation gaps. Okay, and we're going to examine those gaps. But the summary of the plan at its core, Brother Reggie argues that the Nile River Happy, the HAPI, the Happy was the lifeblood of ancient African civilizations, economically, spiritually, and politically. And he talk about cities. He says cities, not nations or federal entities, are the true drivers of economic power and transformation, drawing from Jane Jacobs. He said that. What he said. He said Black population in America are heavily urbanized, so thus reclaiming and transforming the city is the logical site for Black empowerment. Then I don't know what the hell he was drinking when he thought of this stuff. He said this empowerment would draw from ancient African civilization models, collective resource control, and localized governance. It's a bunch of hogwash, right? That's all it is. It's just trying to sound cute, trying to be innovative, trying to bring something different, and it becomes a nothing burger time waster. We follow this garbage. white racist, systemic racism. Like, yeah, go ahead, follow that blueprint, and then we end up further behind in the wealth gap. Okay, so let me talk about his philosophical overreach without clear policy mechanism. So the first problem is while the Nile metaphor is poetic, right? Is so he's romanticizing and is rich in symbolism. It does not translate into concrete policy steps, Brother Reggie. Urban economic development, land use, tax policy, infrastructure, public-private partnerships, and zoning laws. That's something that Umar can run into, are highly technical. So without a clear urban planning framework, it's unclear how Brother Reggie, Black City Plan, Pan-African scam shifts from metaphor to measurable reality. So it would stay as a metaphor, kind of like Garvey's repatriation BS to Liberia. So what I mean is, it's not enough to say we should control cities like ancient Egypt control the Nile. Okay, but how does that look in 2025 though? America, 95% of the cities are regulated by state and federal constraints, Brother Reggie. 95% of cities in America are regulated by state and federal constraints. But we should control cities like the ancient Egyptians controlled the Nile. It's foolishness. Okay. So then he assumes cities can be controlled by marginalized populations without structural change. Here's the problem. Many cities where Black people from a majority, e.g., Detroit, Jackson, Flint, Baltimore, are still beholden to state oversight, Brother Reggie, federal underfunding, and private capital flights. So why it's a flawed concept? Because local control doesn't equate to power. Okay. So even if Black residents control the city council or mayor's office, budgets, laws, police, and economic levers are constrained by state and federal institutions. For example, Detroit's bankruptcy in 2013 led to state takeover and emergency managers overriding elected Black officials. One more time. Detroit's bankruptcy 2013 led to state takeover and emergency managers overriding elected Black officials, all those people you try to get in office. Control, Brother Reggie, is actually an illusion without state level economic sovereignty. You need state level economic sovereignty, something you didn't speak about at all. So your control, that's an illusion. Okay. He doesn't acknowledge gentrification and capital flight. Here's the problem. Cities are marketplaces, Brother Reggie. They're not blank canvases. Okay. You have land speculation, you have gentrification and corporate real estate dominant urban landscapes. They dominate urban landscapes. So Black communities don't own most of the land or housing in Black cities, quote unquote, Brother Reggie. So building a Black city in a market-based system without land acquisition or anti-gentrification mechanisms means that your plan is vulnerable to market takeover. Example, Harlem, Atlanta, and DC have all seen dramatic Black population decline due to rising rents and outside investment, normal gentrification. So he just talking. There's no clear funding or investment strategy. The plan doesn't explain how the Black city will be funded. Okay, just some leprechaun gold, I guess. Will it be through crowdfunding, Brother Reggie? Will you take donations like Umar? Is it government grants? Is it diaspora bonds, cooperatives, or do we just learn your Cash App tag and just give you the money and just trust you? Every successful city, Brother Reggie, or urban redevelopment plan has a financial backbone. Okay, remember I talked about Soul City and it was the backbones through federal grants and things like that. Yeah, you should next time, brother Reggie, look over Soul City before you recommend something as goofy as this. It was attempted in the 19 what late 70s, and it was sabotaged or undermined by conservatives. It's another thing how you can protect yourself from media propaganda demonizing us like they once did. So, without a multi-pronged funding strategy, this becomes a dream without legs, similar to Marcus Garvey's steamships repatriation um, to Liberia and Dr. Umar St. Paul College campus for Black boys. The Freedom Georgia Initiative in Toomsboro, Georgia, or the real estate or the Tulsa Real Estate Fund attempted similar plans, but ran into serious problems because of lack of capital, organization, and community consensus. Brother Reggie has too much heavy reliance on ancient metaphors instead of current models. This is the problem, family. They're stuck in the past, and they're usually old people who stuck in their ways, man. Can't teach a old dog new tricks. They won't modern. They won't modernize their conceptions. So the going back to the Pan-Africanist brother I was talking to yesterday, I said, yo, your problem is you and the brother Reggie, your problem is that you're trying to debate me on things you read 30 years ago when I'm reading stuff just yesterday or this morning. I said, you're gonna always lose, man. I said, you need to update your information, man. Stuff you could, and the thing is, they're trying to recall 30 years ago. Can't even do a good job recalling it. And my information is coming from yesterday research. I said, yo, update your research, bro, and you'll stand a chance. Otherwise, it's going to be a Terrence Crawford versus Canelo type of show. Okay, so again, he used tremendous heavy reliance on ancient metaphors instead of current models. So the ancient metaphors family is no different than Jay Morrison saying, Tulsa, Oklahoma, we're gonna buy back the block. You know, they're relying on things that people hold dear to, like they resonate with success. No different than uh Umar Johnson um talking about Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey. So like people like look at Marcus Garvey, he's doing something great. So he used that. I'm gonna rebuild that. So now here comes Brother Reggie talking about ancient Egypt for the Hoteppers. Yeah, but most of black society are not Hoteppers. So how you gonna pitch the and like this is the arrogant part. How are you gonna pitch this Egypt equivalence, this concept to modern FBAs who know nothing, don't care nothing about ancient Egypt? This only could work. Well, it was never planned to work. It's funny. This is called a Black City Plan, and it was planned to never work. It was just so Pan Africanists and Hoteppers can anoint Brother Reggie as the leader of this small infringe nothing burger group. Like, really, like, how are you wowing the youth with Egypt was painted with gold, and we're gonna build? They're like Egypt. What the fuck? Yeah, come on. It doesn't resonate. It doesn't reflect nothing that we see today. So his plan heavily references ancient Nile Valley models. Again, what the average Foundation Black American cares nothing about that. So you're going nowhere making that comparison to us. Like in a serious setting, that hits nothing. Like the Tulsa, Oklahoma hits harder, and even like the Marcus Garvey lie hits even harder. You're saying Nile Valley 1,000 years ago, and you're trying to get us back in Egypt. Anyway, his heavy reference, his heavy references of ancient Nile Valley models are ridiculous, and they ignore contemporary black-run municipalities, both successful and struggling. Got to compare something around. Okay, so there's more to learn from contemporary case studies, e.g., Prince George's County, MD, Maryland, Inglewood, California, or Jackson, Mississippi, right? So those are contemporary case studies, something in America, but he goes all the way 3,000 years ago to tomb paintings of Nubian traders to get us to see this Black City plan. He take us 3,000 years ago when you have Prince George's County, Maryland, Inglewood, California, and Jackson, Mississippi as contemporary case studies of his dream. But what's missing from this Black City plan? His first presentation: economic data modeling, land trusts, tax incentive strategies, municipal budget plans, youth employment strategies, public private infrastructure partnerships. Look what else he misses. No clear governance framework. It's not clear who leads the Black City or how democracy works in it, but it's not clear because it's going to be him. But how does the democracy works in it, Brother Reggie? Will it be a Pan-African council? How about a major? I'm sorry. How about a mayor or city council? But I know he's going to be all of it. Like Umar was everything and Garvey is everything. Will decisions be made through community assemblies or just Brother Reggie's finger? Decentralized vision without centralized coordination equals chaos, Brother Reggie. So a lot of these guys like to just say something, but they don't believe in what they're saying. They just want to seem smart and be propped up. So they can give their cash app tag out there. Hey, support this nothing burger. So I could make up perpetual excuses why it fails. So the Chakwi Lumumba model in Jackson, Mississippi was a rare example of combining radical Black governance with a policy and budgeting framework. And he didn't even reference that. That's crazy. But it still faced major state pushback and funding shortfalls. So now watch this. What I said earlier. Remember I said earlier about Soul City, and I said the white media came out and demonized it, undermined it, sabotaged it, what led to the funding to be cut short. Brother Reggie didn't pay. Obviously, he knows nothing about that. So he underestimates white supremacists' resistance and legal barriers because of that. So the plan doesn't prepare for institutional resistance, sabotage, legal challenges, or white vigilante action. Historically, any attempt by Foundation Black Americans to consolidate land, wealth, or political power has faced. What did it face, Brother Reggie? You don't know. Voter suppression, redistricting, infrastructure divestment, FBI infiltration, e.g., COINTELPRO, or a bunch of Hotepers just saying Hotep all day. So, for example, Black Wall Street was bombed. The move bombing in Philadelphia shows city governments will kill to stop Black self-determination, and we see the sabotaging of Rosewood. I mean, not Rosewood. Soul City. So it's like you gotta, if you want to do this, you gotta take this serious, and then be really prepared for the backlash, the resistance of white supremacy, and he just undermines that. But he claims that this plan is built off his historical reference. Sure. Okay, so so he has some solid philosophical and strategic seeds within the Black City Plan. That's mainly because he's referencing that tax thing of somebody else. So he wants to center urban geography as the key to Black economic development, invoking he wants to evoke a Pan-African legacy of civilization power, civilizational power. He's trying to challenge the myth that power only comes through federal or national channels. He used Jane Jacobs' urban theory to challenge neoliberal economics. He likes to emphasize self-reliance, Black scholarship, and historical consciousness. Oh, sounds great. So he should talk more about land acquisition strategies, start with land trust co-ops or city purchasing programs to gain control of territory. Right, Brother Reggie? You should be talking about building a parallel governance model like the Zapatistas in Chiapas or Jackson's people assemblies, create democratic structures outside traditional city councils. How about use a real city as a pilot instead of like ancient Egypt, bruh? Choose a small city with high black populations and low investment and run the experiment. Document it. See, nobody wants proof of concept, family. Everybody just goes for the home run. Marcus Garvey, Umar, and Brother Reggie with their Black City sham plans. Nobody wants to start from a small uh example. Like for example, Umar could just start it with a small school out of online school or a small somebody's living room, somebody's basement, somebody's attic, somebody's garage, and see where it went from there and then track the success. Garvey could have just got 3 people back to Africa or back to Liberia. He wants to take 22 million as his proof of concept. And Brother Reggie wants to take over Dallas, Texas, but can't take over a small, tiny city. That is the problem. They always go for the home run hitter because they want to wow you. Okay, now what he could do is, or what he should have suggested was draft a municipal policy blueprint, cover education, policing, public health, food systems, energy, and housing with policy, not poetry. Not poetry, brother. Oh, that sounds great, man. Create an economic model, include tax structures, investment strategies, employment pipelines, and revenue generating enterprises. Okay, so the Black City Plan was just used as a powerful uh spiritual vision, right? Ideological, uh powerful spiritual vision, but functionally underdeveloped as a practical urban redevelopment plan. Without land, law, logistics, and legal structures, a Black city remains a symbolic idea rather than a sustainable model. And we're not falling for that in 2025. All right, let's see who's in the building. We got Let Get It 004. We got Maxwell Jenkins. We got Salita Marie. We have Ray in the building. We have the Mandalorian. We have JJ Mall, songwriter Sunny. We have Lord Mall, intuitively wise. I think some were getting grants from the government to build a bridge to nowhere. Doe Mac in the building. Long time, brother. He says they also selling beachfront property in Phoenix, Arizona. Golden Brown says when you have an incorporated city, you are under the regulations of the state government, but not incorporated cities are not under the government. We'll be wearing linens in this city, right? Okay, I think I see somebody new in the chat. Let me go. For Lang in the building. These people see that we haven't been able to stop nothing that they ever do in this country, but will push a bunch of we gotta do this dumb shit. Right. Fucking this goofy shit. If FBA combo in the building. Oh yeah, I see ya. Whoa, as a Black American woman, Africans call leave me out of anything. That's exactly. Let me give Asia, if I'm saying her name correctly, Asia while a lineage wrench and make her a moderator. She could join the family, join her lineage. Carlos Magus, Braxton, Snake Fiend, Satchel Ohio, Baker Boy 3. I said for Lang already. If anybody sent the super chat, I'm gonna try to find it. If not, it's all good. I just make sure I don't miss it. Diane Fitzgerald said, "Why can't they just leave the land? They are correct. Yeah, they got all the answers. They got all the answers, right?" Behind DJ Biggs piece, he says, "Grand rising to everybody." By the way, DJ Biggs says, "Behind every African and Caribbean immigrant to American organizations who are white people to help replace FBA BA from the original FBA communities, all about the money. It's all about the money." Troy Ave. So let me throw my Cash App in there in case somebody wanna, because I'm probably gonna be going live all day. So I want to do this quick one about Brother Reggie, Black City Plans. I want to end this. I want to end this by who knows 10, 11 o'clock, and then go live again. Or who knows 2, 3 o'clock. And I want to cover some Pan-African wars because I got some interesting video on that. Very interesting. Y'all don't want to miss that one. But I don't want to tie all the videos together. And then later tonight, maybe we'll talk to the motivated Pan-Africanist that I spoke to last night. As long as he slows down, because he's one of those I'm not finished type brothers. Let me finish type brothers. So we got to slow him down. We got to slow him down. Okay. So Brother Reggie, he's going to elaborate more on this Black City Plan, Pan-African sham, scam. Thank you, ma'am.
Tuskegee, who he envisioned the labor needed for Black cities, right? So he created vocational education. And Dr. Tyreen Wright, who has been on the show, is an expert on Booker T. Washington's Tuskegee experiment. Shout out to her. And then there is George Washington Carver, who became a scientist. And you know this figure of hidden figures. So all of this talent, right, is now in Black cities. But the problem is that since we are not creating municipal enterprises, they're being sucked to the predatory corporations. And Black people in those corporations have an expiry and they have discrimination. So Black cities must launch Black city enterprises. And so what does that mean? So to answer your question, that means create community development corporations. And community development corporations or nonprofit community-based organizations focused on revitalizing the areas in which they are located, typically low-income, underserved neighborhoods that experience significant divestment. We do some of that. We don't do enough. These are the parts of it. Community land trust. Cities control land. Malcolm X says land is the basis of revolution. Well, when you can control land, then you could put things on your land. You could put schools on your land, right? You could put factories on your land. You could put stadiums on your land, right? You could put housing on your land, right? So corporations are mindful that they try to partner. Here's the thing. They try to partner with our cities in some regard for access to the land that they can't afford with their market value. So if they're trying to build a Barclays Stadium or they're trying to build a Yankee Stadium or any of these other stadiums in any of the cities, they go to the cities and say, look, we'll work with you. You give us the land with
family.
You give us the land, we build stadiums, then there's income that's coming on the land. The problem with that is that the city should be in business of creating those stadiums for marketing their city's natural talents. And so I'll get into that. Another thing is cooperatives. Okay, so cities should spawn cooperatives. Cooperatives, you can see food cooperatives, you can see lots of different type of cooperatives where people pay by membership for goods and services, and that goes back to the city. But what the city now says is, no, we'll just let BJ's and Costco come in. We'll let Lowe's and Home Depot come in. We'll let these, we're lazy. We're going to let these companies come in and we're going to get taxes. But these companies never pay their fair share of taxes.
Yeah.
So then it comes to food. Okay, so Black cities now are being held hostage to food, right? What we do is we let markets come in, like in New York, the Hunts Point food market and stuff like that. So all the corporations come in and the city makes money off of taxes instead of the city actually going into the food system business themselves.
Okay.
So then if all this stuff is working, then what it should work, and it works in white communities, right? Then there's something called employee stock ownership plans. So the employers who work for the city in these particular initiatives, they get ownership, right? But what happens for us now is that I'll stop sharing for a second. what happens now is that the corporations hire us. They offer us 401k. They manage our pensions. Our pensions are manipulated. We're always subject to what's happening in the stock market. So when the market crashes, we lose 30 to 40% of the stocks that we that we don't even know that we owned or had, instead of investing in cooperatives and these other kind of municipal projects where we know that, like for the Hunts Point Market, it feeds the city. It's never going to run out of money. It's never going to run out. But what we do is we just simply work for a company. Watch this. We work for a company that invests our money in other companies, and they make profit and loss because they're always buying and selling. And we don't invest in. We have no investment in the enterprises that serve our community.
Mm.
So these are some of the things in the Black City Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is supposed to help Black people, but they're in white cities. And it's only because our city managers, our mayors, city officials, and all of them, they're of another generation. But people.
Okay. So let me just give some background on this guy before we get too crazy. All right. So this is Brother Reggie on my channel, right? He pulled up. Now look what he says right here. This is just background on this guy.
I've met Tariq Nasheed. He's my brother. I just disagree with some of his rhetoric. Even my professor, James Small, who worked closely with him, disagrees.
Is explaining what Foundation of Black American is and tell him I'm both.
Explaining what Foundation of Black American is and tell him I'm both.
Okay, so the reason I added that insert, because he just lied to me. He said his professor, his Baba Smalls, disagrees with Tariq and the whole FBA thing. And I just inserted a clip where Professor Smalls said he is FBA. So the dude just be lying for no reason. One more time. Let me go back, and he's going to say Professor Smalls disagree with Tariq coming up with Foundation Black Americans. And we hear the opposite.
Even I've met Tariq Nasheed. He's my brother. I just disagree with some of his rhetoric. Even my professor, James Small, who worked closely with him, disagrees.
Is explaining what Foundation of Black American is and tell him I'm both.
Explaining what Foundation of Black American is and tell him I'm both.
So he just said he's both. He's a Pan-Africanist and a FBA Foundation Black American. That's who Professor Small is and who he said he was. Close that door. So he just said, Brother Reggie just lied and said he disagrees with Tariq with FBA. He just said he is FBA and he's also Pan-African. But he goes further to say more. Check this out.
Foundation of Black American, that we have a right to identify ourselves.
He said Foundation Black American, he include himself in that we have a right to identify ourselves. So you just lied, Brother Reggie. He does not disagree with Tariq Nasheed.
In the same way any other ethnic group.
Even my professor, James Small, who worked closely with him, disagrees.
Even my professor, James Small, who worked closely with him, disagrees. Dr. Leonard Jeffries disagrees with his.
Okay, so he went on a tangent, seeing how everybody disagrees with Tariq Nasheed and us. So it ain't just Tariq Nasheed, it's us on the whole Foundation Black American self-identification, delineation approach to everything. But let's go over some things. Like he just said, oh my God, these dudes be thirsty, man. They be thirsty to be a leader. Like dudes be thirsty, and they're mad that people are in the way of them ever being leader. Now we're on code, like so. His dreams of being a leader is gone. The lineage is the leader, the code is the leader, and They like that goddamn Tariq Nasheed. He made it impossible for anybody to assume leadership. Oh, he gotta go. That's how these right here feel about Tariq. The same way Tyler felt about Kirk. That's how these guys feel about Tariq. Like, if it wasn't for that bastard, I would be the leader of the lineage. All right. So anyway, my screen. Okay. So just now, when she said this, when she said, okay, well, wait, where's she at? Just now, when she said this right here, she said, we'll go further on this whole Black City plan. Like right about here.
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
What, in terms of your city plan, what does it look like? Can you kind of walk us through like what exactly the Black City
Look at
plan
the
is?
smile.
Sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. Knowing is full of shit. Sure. Like that's that false sense of confidence that they want to give people. So he gave an extended version of the breakdown this time. He expands on his earlier framework that we cooked earlier. So now he incorporated municipal enterprises, cooperative economics, land ownership, and city managed businesses as key pillars. Okay, whatever. All right. But that version is much richer in content, but it also becomes more just romanticizing Egypt. That's it. Okay, so he talks about municipal enterprises, cities, not just private companies, can operate revenue generating businesses. He talks about these can provide services, food, transport, goods directly to underserved communities. Profits are reinvested into community needs, school roles, and healthcare. Then he says, white cities do this too. Oh boy. He argues black run cities should replicate what white cities do, right? As though white cities face white opposition from white supremacists. He talks about community land trust. Control of land equals power. Cities should own and manage land through public trust, not sell it to private developers. Oh, shit. This keeps land affordable and under community direction for schools, co-op stadiums. He talks about community development corporations, CDCs, nonprofits that rebuild neighborhoods using local input and control. He says this is used to revitalize low income and black areas without outside justification forces. So that's his attempt to address that. Cooperatives. He says community owned grocery stores, housing, or utilities. Members buying in, profits stay local rather than going to national chains, e.g., Costco and BJ's. All right. He talks about employee stock ownership plans, ESOPs, right? He says employees, especially city workers, get ownership stakes in city run businesses. This prevents corporations from controlling pension funds or clashing markets, hurting black wealth. So then he critiqued predatory capitalism. Oh shit. Black people are workers, not owners. Their pensions are tied to Wall Street, which profits off their labor but offers no control. C-led businesses are insulated from market crashes and speculation. But he goes over historical inspirations. He goes way back to Mansa Musa pilgrimage. He says economic and diplomatic power through wealth movement. Booker T. Washington, Tuskegee, vocational training as foundation of city labor. George Washington Carver, science and innovation rooted in black institutions. Okay, so he gives a more cohesive plan. Cities as engines of sovereignty. He ties it into Pan-African history to modern economics in a compelling narrative, right? Brother Reggie outlines concrete institutions this time, land trusts, co-ops, CDCs, municipal enterprises that have real world precedent and success stories, right? Did he critique corporate exploitation? Names the system, black people are exploited by corporations, pensions are vulnerable, cities give land to corporations, e.g. stadiums, and don't build for themselves. Here is the problem. Again, that all sounds great. There is no strategy for gaining political control of cities. He just be talking. Where is the strategy of gaining political control of the cities you speak about? Who's going to implement this plan if city officials and black mayors are of another generation, as he said, and don't understand municipal power? So he said the current city officials and black mayors are of another generation. So this is a new generational thought he's pushing, and they don't understand municipal power. So then who's going to get them out of office and implement this black city Pan-African sham? Okay. So it's missing a political strategy for replacing or transforming local leadership with new, trained, and aligned individuals. It's just garbage, man. It's nothing burger. Political education, candidate training, and strategic elections must precede any implementation. Political education, candidate training, and strategic elections must precede any implementation. So where we are there, brother Reggie. Again, no financial blueprint, no financial blueprint. Municipal enterprises and land trusts require initial capital, business plans, lawyers, and trained administrators. What is missing? How these cities fund the creation of co-ops, acquire land, or start food markets. Okay, you're missing that part. You didn't explain the plan for crowdfunding, community bonds, diaspora investments, philanthropic seed grants, public-private matching funds. Okay, and then you still ignore the legal and structural barriers. Okay, even cities with black leadership are constrained by state law, capital markets, and gentrification forces. Cities cannot legally form certain businesses without state approval, my guy. Corporations often sue cities for economic interference, e.g., eminent domain, my guy. Okay, so partner with legal scholars to identify laws that must be changed or lobbied against. Okay, you gotta partner with legal scholars to identify laws that must be changed or lobbied against. He gives an overemphasis on metaphor and ancient history. He links every strategy back to Mansa Musa or Happy HAPI as powerful. He keeps tying us back to 3,000 years ago as powerful symbols, right? But it becomes less he can't persuade anybody with that in any policy circle. That's why I say, man, you can't go to 2025 people talking about Mansa Musa, Egypt, HAPI, happy, and think we're gonna galvanize around that. He keep okay, so what you gotta do is, bro, keep your ancient references out of the goddamn plan. Okay, rather lead with data, case studies, and models for investors, policymakers, and planners. Uh, family, investors, policymakers, and planners, even like potential constituents, they don't want to hear about ancient Egypt, man, Mansa Musa. Like, why are we doing that? For what? No talent pipeline or training framework. Who will run the municipal enterprises, brother Reggie? Who manages land trust? Where is the trained workforce? What's missing is a plan for vocational education, internships, and city based training for cooperative economics. But you can fix it, though. You can fix it. You can partner with HBCUs, trade schools, and Black urban planners to create a workforce ready to govern. Where is your phased timeline or pilot strategy? And then here's the problem that all of them have. They talk all this great stuff, but they never have a phased timeline or pilot strategy. Like when did this start? When does it start? By what time is it? If it start in 2025, are you ready to abandon shit by 2028? When you see nothing is going your way and it's just falling apart, or do you do a Umar and do you holding something for 15 years And when you see it, you spiral out of control. So, as you can see, the issue is unclear how or where this plan starts. Is Detroit the test case? Is there a phase one or phase two, Brother Reggie? But you can fix it. Start with a 5-year timeline, something Umar didn't do. One city or neighborhood. Start with one city or neighborhood, not all the black cities in the damn country. Measurable metrics: jobs created, food cost reduction, housing stability, right? So, political infrastructure, local candidate pipeline, anti-corruption training, infrastructure, economic power, municipal bank or black-led CDFI, housing strategy, energy infrastructure, community land trust, plus anti-gentrification zoning laws, solar co-ops or black-owned microgrids, youth employment, city sponsorship, apprenticeships, and green tech trades co-ops. Media control. You need that. You need media control, buddy. Municipal or co-op owned communications, radio, local TV. And guess what? You need some Johnny Cochran's legal defense fund to fight lawsuits from developers and corporations who's going to sue you when you try to block them out from investing in your black city. Okay. So, Brother Reggie's expanded Black City Plan is a necessary ideological correction to decades of disempowerment Black urban policy, right? Because he's trying to address an issue, but it needs a practical engine, not rhetoric, not romanticizing Egypt and Mansa Musa and happy. It needs legal armor, trained divers, and a roadmap to actually move. When is it going to get started, bro? So as it stands, this is just a strong philosophical clarity. He talks about solid institutional suggestions, but it lacks execution, like Marcus Garvey, like Umar. It all sounds good. Mike Tyson said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and the punch in the mouth is symbolic to executing the plan. So, Brother Reggie's Pan-African Black City Plan, sham, scam, thank you, ma'am, lacks execution, funding, legal prep, and timelines. In other words, it's a nothing burger. Another nothing burger. God is hey y'all, yeah, definitely please like the video. You know how we do. Well, you know how you guys don't do. I gotta motivate you and inspire you. I know you're on your phone, you're using your phone. Just hit that X, press like, and then come back to the comment section. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just reading some of the comments, see where we at. Fair question. Carlos Magus says, no, I'm not with light skin, including myself, making business to put our people to see. I'm better off playing my role, which learn, stay out of the way, stay on code, simple. Reggie, DJ Big says Reggie was raised into a Latino home. He already exposed that and holds a grudge with, hurt that his family were not able to keep their land in Virginia. He needs family therapy. Oh, so he one of those dudes. He one of those dudes. Baker Boy says RIP Chancellor Williams. I agree with Goddess Yemaya. She says, please share, comment, definitely share. Yashar Napash says, peace and blessings, grand rising, peace and blessings to you. Intuitively wise, I agree with you, Lord Maul. They haven't realized they are American citizens and should be concerned with the Black American development, right? Everything's like Africa 3,000 years ago. That's going to be our example of doing great in America. I don't recall the Egyptians or Mansa Musa dealing with white supremacy, systemic racism. You dig? Right wing and left wing. Ray said Tariq is a problem, but not Brother Polite. Yeah, they were fans of that guy, fanboys. Intuitively wise says, so I think we should look at Brother Reggie as a circle that don't fit in the square. He's not going to stay on the square. Yeah, well, you could say I mean, if you can't even keep it real about Baba James Smalls admitting he's FBA, and you're just saying, oh, he disagrees with treating that shit. Like at that point, you just a failure. Like you're mad that you'll never be a leader of anything tangible or no people with a sound mind. Salida Marie said, I never could follow any of those nutty Pan African fools. They never did anything that moved me to yeah. No, they just a lot of glory, a lot of romanticizing Egypt and Africa, and they're in denial of what needs to be done in America, out independent of anybody from Africa. And no history in Africa can help us out today. Like what we're dealing with today, Africa never seen before. All right. Africa was always fighting themselves. They didn't fight a whole op that looks completely different than them. They always fought themselves. So if you fight yourselves, that solution should be way more easier. When you fight somebody who don't look like you and they got power over you, it's that's a real fight there. Okay, I'll get another one. Go sit over there, meet you another one. Let me charge this up. Mm-hmm.
That's right. The roof new one.
Okay, here, bring it over there so it don't be too loud. Nope. There's toothpaste. Here you go. There's a brush your teeth thing. Go. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to end this video right here. We're gonna pick back up on diaspora wars. I got a dope video, which I don't even know where it's going, but I like where it started. So a white professor, I think in a college setting, had it's called Africans, comma, Caribbean, comma, and Foundation Black Americans, but he said African American, but we know what he meant. And it was interesting. I said, that's an interesting title with a white guy. So he got people from the school to represent each location, like each ethnic group. Then he had a lily white guy come down and try to distinguish who from who, and he really couldn't. So, and that was a professor point. He was like, "Hey, man, they all black, but they're different." He said, "What we do is we group them all together as black, and not respecting their differences, their cultural differences." So he started to ask each student, "What are they?" So somebody said Ghana, somebody said the islands. Then we had some Foundation Black Americans said they here, lineage is here. So the white folks and the Spanish and then everybody in the audience was kind of like, wow, like they all look alike, but they're totally well, they don't look alike, but they kind of look similar, but they're totally different. And here come the Ghanaian the college student. Well, I'm Ghanaian, but technically I'm from Africa and I live in America, so I'm like African American. And that's what I was trying to tell a Pan-African guy last night. Like, no, 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 no. Because he's sold on African American is like our identity. And I don't know what research he's reading, but he thinks John Henry Clark pushed for African American. I'm like, oh my God. Dude, get your pen and paper, man. You're gonna learn a lot when you pull up over here. So I sent him the link to this live. Hopefully he's watching. And hopefully he don't do the let me finish stuff. Like make a point, ask a question, stay silent, let me go in. When you talk, let me ask a question, same vice versa. But he's gonna really struggle with Garvey because he really thinks Garvey is Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He's gonna struggle with that one. He's also gonna struggle with the early Pan-Africanists, right? Who he calls Pan-Africanists. Because I'm like, dude, if they're all Pan-Africanists, then they all practice Pan-Africanism totally different from each other. Shoot, that was my fault. What am I doing over there? That's not what I want to do. All right, family. So Renaissance woman just checked in. while they telling us we are the same nigga. They need to be uniting over there. It's facts. So I just gave peace to Pinky Wells. So I just gave you guys a sneak peek when I go live in a few, like maybe an hour or two. What we're covering. We're gonna cover that, and then we got some diaspora wars where folks are acting crazy, and we need to assess that. So the family, I appreciate you. The did I put my I could have sworn I put the Cash App in there. Let me see. I know I did. I didn't pin it. So if anybody that wants to Cash App there for you guys. And I'm out of here, family. Diamond, peace. But hang in there. I'm going live shortly, maybe an hour or two, on that study I was telling you about, and then some Pan-Africanism, and then some diaspora wars. Right? So I appreciate everybody who pulled up to hear the Black City Plan Pan-African sham scam. Bam wham, thank you, ma'am. And we're gonna leave on the outro of the FBA national anthem.
That show me subscribe.
Make no mistake, we're the only black people in y'all that only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks, y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Bitch. We built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. You ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, with the linear in and out, the ground shaking. Someone say, FBI, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBI, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Make no mistake, we're the only black people and y'all the only eat rat, eat cat people. You ain't black, you ain't that. Matter of fact, your black is repo, I'm taking it back. Cause y'all making it whack, faking jacks, y'all from the slave, raiding the tax. Breaks, pause, pause. We built the foundation, our innovations were groundbreaking. Y'all ain't wanna get down, now you around, hating, faking, with the linear eating, now the ground shaking. Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray, we say, Someone say, FBA, we don't run away. We stay, we slay, we pray.